Hello, I'm Dr. Debbie, and today I want to share a few tips about how you can find an effective marriage counselor. I've heard tons of horror stories about people's experience in marriage counseling. First, many of them describe a situation where the therapist decides pretty quickly who's right and who's wrong. Then they spend the remainder of that session and any additional sessions ganging up on the bad guy or bad gal. When that happens, all you're doing is recreating and solidifying the same negative cycle that brought you into counseling in the first place. Of course, this can be hard to recognize if the counselor is on your side, but if he or she is on your mate's side, it'll be easy to spot. Another situation you want to avoid is a counselor who will sit and listen to you argue with one another the entire session. At the end of the session, the counselor says, "Well, that's all we have time for today. We'll see you next week." Like that can be helpful? You can argue anytime on your own. You don't need to pay someone to watch you argue. That's not helpful. The truth is, a counselor who takes sides in marriage or simply gives you an audience for your arguments probably hasn't been properly trained. Working with a couple is very different from working with an individual. Unfortunately, the counselor's degree and license do not provide proof of his or her actual training, experience, and effectiveness in marital therapy, nor does the counselor's personal marital status. Even a pastor or a coach can fail to provide adequate marital help. How well someone can help depends more on the personal characteristics of the one who's meeting with you and your spouse. How do you know when you found the right person? Here are 3 things to consider. First, make sure the counselor sees you in a more positive light than your partner does. And at the same time, that same counselor or therapist needs to see your partner in a more positive light than you do. If there's not a balance of understanding, of connection, of empathy for both of you with the counselor, you're not going to get anywhere except where you already have been, going round and round in circles. Something needs to change, probably your perception of one another. And it's the counselor's job to help you see one another differently, to help you get on the same page so you can solve the problems as a team. Second, you need a counselor who can paint a picture of what a healthy relationship looks like. We have enough data from so much marital research, but most counselors don't explicitly draw from that database to teach their couples the truth about love. Perhaps a pastoral counselor might tend more to teach or lecture from a biblical standpoint. However, a mental health professional is not likely to give you a lot of direction. They've been trained to let you figure it out on your own. Yes, you need your solutions to be your own, but that doesn't mean the counselor has to be passive in the process. In fact, an effective couples counselor will be very active in the process, both implicitly or explicitly teaching you what works and what doesn't based on the findings of research. In the process of painting that picture, the counselor needs to be empathic and understanding of where you are now and how you got there. But you also need help reconnecting with the dream you both have in your heart of what your marriage could be. Finally, you need someone, whether it's a therapist or a counselor, whomever you choose, who has the skills to walk you through the steps to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And that person should be able to tell you where you are in the process at any given moment. If you want help with your marriage, be sure to look for those 3 characteristics in the person you choose. Someone who gets you both, someone who can help you see a picture of where you're going, and someone who can teach and walk you through the steps you need to take to achieve your relationship goals. Now, don't be afraid to try out more than one counselor. You need to find the person who is the right fit for both of you on all 3 points. And in the process of selecting someone, you're already learning to respect one another's point of view and achieving a mutual goal. How cool is that?